Welcome back, Devils fans. It is Coach Ace here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share the friend. Thank you very much. And the long off-season continues, my friends. We all sit back waiting for the New Jersey Devils to make a move or not to make a move. But some interesting things have come out in the past few days. Like I've said for about a week or two now, I'm going to have a bunch of videos coming out. First one here is to give you a little update on some of the news, rumors, and things circulating around the Devils sphere regarding their offseason. And the first bit of news that I thought was quite interesting, a couple days ago, it was revealed that the New Jersey Devils were, in fact, one of 15 teams reportedly trying to land Jonathan Toews. And to no surprise, we did not get him. He went to the Winnipeg Jets. As most people thought was going to happen when this story first broke, that Taves was coming back, stemming back to last season. And a lot of people on the internet queued up the Fitz came in second place jokes. And while I do have many kind of squabbles or whatever you want to call it with Tom Fitzgerald, I am absolutely not going to kill him for this one. And I will defend him here because the reality is the Devils probably didn't even come in second in this one. The Devils probably came towards the bottom of the list. Taves was going to have no shortage of suitors. I made a video about this a few weeks ago talking about how the Devils should try everything to get him, but I didn't expect it to happen. 15 teams were in on him. The Devils did not get him, and I believe, he always wanted to go to Winnipeg, and so I can't kill Fitz for it. Taves going home to Winnipeg, but I did think it was kind of funny how everyone on the internet was, making the came in second jokes, but I'm going to be fair. I got to defend Fitz. It was a long shot to begin with, but I will say it is somewhat encouraging that the Devils were at least in on him. That's all you could do is try, right? Obviously, you can't try and miss on everybody, and that's been a criticism of Fitz for a lot of people that were rumored to all these names, and we never get one. But hopefully, at some point this summer, we get a name or two that could really help push this roster forward. But I can't kill him here. I got to be fair. And there was 15 teams, and 14 of them lost out. He went back to Winnipeg as expected, but like I said, a little encouraging that at least they identified him as a piece that could have helped this team because I thought he would have been a great fit here, but it wasn't in the cards. And so it is what it is. Taves to Winnipeg, and we move on to the next player. This one was very interesting. Jjpeterka, a guy many Devils fans have been talking about and that they wanted. I thought he could have helped this Devils team for sure. Again, I don't know that he would be the most ideal player, but I definitely think he would have fit in here nicely and would have helped the team for sure. Gets sent from the Buffalo Sabres to the Utah Mammoth in a deal that was pretty underwhelming by most accounts. Peterka goes to the Mammoth in exchange for defenseman Michael Kesselring and Josh Doan. Wow. The internet's had a pretty good time with this one. A lot of people, again, want to complain, the Devils should have did that, and I get it. A lot of people wanted Peterka, and he got traded for a somewhat underwhelming package, I would say for sure. And it is what it is. But now Peterka is going to a Utah Mammoth club with some exciting young forwards. He's getting added to a group that consists of Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, Nick Schmaltz, and Clayton Keller. Wow. I don't think the Mammoth are going to be struggling to score next season. They should be a very young, exciting team to watch. And it'll be interesting. I would love to get out to a Devils Mammoth game out in Utah. I'll probably put that on the list for the next couple of years. Would be a nice one. I love going to see new arenas, and that one looks like could be a trip worth doing, so maybe I'll try to get that scheduled sooner than later. But Peterka was a pending restricted free agent looking for a new deal, and he gets an extension, 5 years worth $38.5 million, a cap hit of $7.7 million. I would say pretty fair deal considering the cap escalations where it's projected to go in years to come. Peterka at 7.7, not a bad deal whatsoever. And another devastating blow somewhat to the Buffalo Sabres. And I do feel bad for their fans. I mean, it's just been a long, treacherous road for them. There's been rumors of other guys wanting out of there and just the lack of success for a very long time. It is very just troubling to be a Sabres fan. My heart goes out to you. It's a very tough time. We'll see how that kind of plays out with the Sabres and if any other guys end up getting moved anytime soon because there's a few guys on that roster that I would love to have on the New Jersey Devils, but we'll talk about that in future videos. And then we get to the rumors circulating around Tom Fitzgerald trying to bring back some Devils from last season. First one, center Cody Glass. Glass was obtained at the deadline, or a little bit before, but in-season acquisition late in the season. played okay. Nothing spectacular in my opinion, but, can potentially contribute going forward in a bottom 6 role. Codyglass was not sent a qualifying offer, which would have had to have been $2.5 million. He is scheduled to be a free agent. A lot of people just jump to the conclusion that, they're not bringing him back, which very well may be the case, but it seems like the Devils may be interested in bringing him back at a discount. Maybe they're going to let him go to free agency, try to bring him back for cheaper. Be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. I don't know what kind of money he's going to want or command in the market. That one's a little bit of a wild card for me, but if they could get him for like $1.5 million or something, I think it would be a good move as a 4C. If I'm being honest, I do not want to see Codyglass as a 3C. I think we need something a little bit more substantial for third-line center, but as a fourth-line center at the right price, I certainly would welcome Codyglass back. That'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. In the next week or so, we'll probably see him either brought back to the Devils or sign elsewhere. And then another one that's been heating up in the past couple of days, and that is Jakeallen. Jakeallen, very solid season for the Devils last year, put up some great numbers. Filled in admirably in the starting goaltending role when Jacob Markstrom was unfortunately injured in that game against the Boston Bruins. Had to play a lot of games. Played really well, and it's looking like he is going to get a nice payday at the end of his career here this summer. Jake has said he wants to return to the Devils. Fitz said he wants to bring him back. The issue here is obviously purely monetary. The Devils have very little cap space, a little over $14 million at the moment, with several holes to address, in addition to signing Luke Hughes long-term, hopefully. And if Luke Hughes is indeed signed long-term, which I think he will be, it's going to probably be around $9 million. And I hope that's all it is. Now, at this point, with some of the other stories and guys' money being floated around out there, I'm hoping Luke doesn't kind of hold the organization hostage for like 10 or $10.5 million. Because that would not be leaving too much meat on the bone, as Fitz likes to allude to. So we'll keep an eye on that. But even Luke at $9 million, as of right now, leaves about $5 million for the Devils to address all of their other needs, and there's several of them. And so the cap space is still super tight, despite trading away Hall's contract. And the rumors are now that Jake is looking for a 2-year deal at around $5 million per. Jakeallen is the best free agent goaltender available on the market. A lot of teams looking for goaltending help. I would not be surprised, as I mentioned before, if the Edmonton Oilers get in the mix here. I mean, their goaltending has just been a question mark for years now. We saw, the follies in the playoffs, including the finals. Pickard and Skinner, and Pickard didn't have a good game 5, and then they're like, they're going to go back to Skinner for the potential elimination game 6. They did, and obviously the Panthers prevailed. But either way, you don't want to have a goaltending kind of question mark or controversy in the playoffs, especially in the finals. The Oilers dealt with that, and they're going to be probably looking at any goalie that they believe can help solidify their net. I would not be surprised if they make a play for Jakeallen, but at 2 years at $5 million or anywhere near it, while I appreciate Jakeallen's time here, he does have value. In an ideal world, if we had tons of cap dollars, would I love to bring him back? Absolutely, but that is not the case. We are so tight against the cap. I was thinking Allen was going to get more around $3.5 million, but I guess given this new cap climate and lack of other goaltenders, that $5 million could be realistic. And even at a discount from that, for the Devils just can't pay anywhere near that, in my opinion. Now, a lot of people are on both sides of the fence here. Let me know in the comments. I'm super curious. But now with this $5 million number, I think it makes the decision even easier for the Devils. We just simply cannot afford it. We have more pressing needs. I do believe every red cent needs to be spent on improving the forward group. As we saw last year, goaltending and defense, very solid. Scoring goals was a problem. Very problematic, and we need to get better forwards, and that's going to require cap space. And so, unfortunately for me, I am a hard pass on Jakeallen at anywhere near this money. I think it would be gross negligence by Fitzgerald to re-sign him at anywhere near that. We just can't do it. We have way more pressing needs, and I do think it is time for Nico Daws to sink or swim. Sink or swim. In a very small sample size last year, he put up very good numbers. I thought he showed signs of starting goaltender material during that 23-24 season. And what did we even sign him for if we were never going to have a succession plan or start grooming him to be a full-time NHL goaltender, whether that's the 1B guy or the main 1A? Either way, the time is now. He's getting older as well, and he's on a one-way deal this year. And so I do think it is time to groom Daws behind Markstrom, let him get his starts, let's see what he has. And worst-case scenario, if he flounders, then you have to go out and try to find another veteran goalie as kind of a stopgap to be behind Markey. But I do think it should be time for Daws. Maybe a guy like Jacob Malik could impress in camp. We have some other guys in the mix. Obviously, Big Mike Yegorov waiting in the wings at BU. playing at Boston University under former New Jersey Devil and two-time Stanley Cup champion Jay Pandolfo. He is the future and goal, I believe, for the Devils in years to come, whether that's in a year or two from now, whatever it is. But in the meantime, they got to have some sort of plan. And I think bringing back Allen at his age behind Markstrom without really getting a young guy like Dawes experience, I just think is not the greatest plan for the future. And I think Dawes is going to be capable, especially behind the defense the Devils have now. And so I'm hoping we see Dawes. But supposedly the Devils are trying to figure it out with Jake Allen. But once this $5 million number came out, I was just like, it made the decision even easier for me personally. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. I think all that money's got to go up front. We need some forwards. And we get to some of the forward news. Some big names floating around. Supposedly, the New Jersey Devils are keeping an eye on the Jason Robertson situation in Dallas. Rumors are he could be had Dallas in a little bit of a cap crunch, looking to figure out their moves for the offseason. And Robertson is supposedly available. We look at his stats. He's been in the league 6 years. This upcoming season will be his 7th. 374 games played, 168 goals, 226 assists for 394 points. Over a point per game guy for his career. Very solid player. Last year he had 35 goals, 45 assists for 80 points. The year before he had 29 goals, 51 assists, 80 points. And then in 22-23 he had 46 goals, 63 assists for 109 points. But I mean, wow. Exciting young player. Would be a definite improvement to the New Jersey Devils forwards. And yeah, when you could get a guy like him, you got to at least inquire. Now, I have said before, I don't know that he's the most ideal type of player I would want for this team. But if he could be had for a reasonable deal, it's definitely something the Devils should explore. He has 1 year left on his contract at $7.75 million, which is a very tolerable cap hit. And then he will become a restricted free agent. My problem is after that. So 7.75, I love that for Robertson. For 1 year, that's amazing. But after that, what's he going to be looking for? I'd have to imagine he's going to be looking for $10 million plus. And if he has a big season, maybe even more, maybe even $11 million. Again, this is the new cap era. Some of you guys are going to be floored at what guys are signed for this offseason. The contracts are going to start getting crazy. As the cap continues to go up, and I keep talking about this, you have to look at the percentage of cap. People are comparing contracts of guys now or potential contracts to contracts that guys signed years ago. You know, everyone talks about Jack Hughes makes $8 million. Yeah, he signed that 3 years ago, whatever it was. That was a totally different time and a totally different cap situation. The cap is going to keep going up aggressively, I believe. And so when you start seeing these deals this summer, I think everyone has to really look at it and then kind of rewire their brains that a guy that's making 5, 6, 7, whatever it is, $8 million a year from last year even to what it's going to be in the future is very different. The money is going up, guys. Contracts are going to be crazy. And so Robertson, after next season, depending on the season he has, even if he has an average season, you think he's going to be looking for $10 million plus easily, maybe even 11 or 12, depending on what he does. And so do we want to make him the highest paid player on this team by that amount of money? Some people will say easily yes. I'm on the fence. Again, do I think there's guys that bring a little bit of a different element or ingredient to this team that we might need more than what Robertson brings? Yes. But will I complain if we get Robertson? Absolutely not. He's a very good young player, and I think he would fit in great here. I don't think that any one player is going to fix all of the issues of the New Jersey Devils overnight, obviously. I think there's plenty of holes that need to be filled, but I do think a top 6 winger is at the very top of the list of needs and what will help move the Devils forward the most. And so Robertson definitely fits the bill, but are we going to want to pay him what he's going to command after this season? And like I said, it's going to be somewhere in the $10 to $12 million range. These contracts are going to get wild, guys. But you bring in a guy like Robertson who's already scored 40 goals, potentially has 50 goal potential with the right line mates. A lot of you guys on the internet are clamoring to get him. And if you sit back and really think about it, a top line of Jason Robertson, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt would be lethal, absolutely lethal. And likewise, a line of Jason Robertson, Nico Hischier, and Timo Meier would also be lethal. So that gives you some real flexibility and some real options. I mean, a massive upgrade to the top 6 for sure. Playing on either one of those lines, he could have a career year. And he could be a driving factor in the Devils having a great season and hopefully go far in the playoffs. Will be interesting to keep an eye on that. I have no idea exactly what the Stars would be looking for in return for him, but I do think the Devils have some pieces, and that could be a deal that a guy like Dawson Mercer is a part of. as well as maybe a young defenseman. We've talked about Shimo Nemitz and Seamus Casey. Both have tremendous value on the market, and a lot of teams would love to have either one of them. And so you could potentially see a deal where a guy like Mercer, a young defenseman, and maybe another prospect or first rounder next year is included. You never know, but something to keep an eye on. I know a lot of you want Robertson, and I'd be happy if we got him. I always just have to ask the question, is there somebody who's better? Is there a better fit? And I don't have the answer to that. But there's a lot of guys out there that would help this team. Robertson, definitely one of them. And then another guy that is rumored to potentially be available, which I found to be very interesting, and who knows if the Devils will even have any interest, but Jordan Kyrou of the St. Louis Blues. Another very good young player in the league, 27 years old. He is going to be entering his 8th season this year. And you look at his career stats, 416 games played, 150 goals, 182 assists for 332 career points. He's hovering around that 0.8 points per game or so. You see what he did last year. 36 goals, 34 assists for 70 points, played all 82 games. He played all 82 games the season before and had 31 goals, 36 assists for 67 points. He's scored 30 goals plus the past 3 seasons. And again, this New Jersey Devils team is going to need help putting pucks in the net. I think Kyrou is a guy that could definitely do it. He can play center or wing, which I really do like. I do like the versatility. Now, we've had some other guys in the past that have played center and wing, and, you know, sometimes they're reluctant to kind of swap them back and forth. But I do think Kyrou could be very lethal in the top 6 as well with the guys we have in our top 6 already. Kyrou could be another guy to keep an eye on. But the big thing about him that I like more so than Robertson is that he is signed for another 6 years. 6 years. That's why I think he could be the guy to look at. If you want to talk about cap management and all these things planning for the future, he's signed for 6 more seasons at a cap hit of $8.125 million. He's signed through the 2030-31 season. Like I just said a couple minutes ago, given where the cap is headed and where some of these deals are going to go, to have this guy under team control for 6 more years at $8.125 million bucks, in a couple years from now, his value is going to be insane. It's going to look like a very, very good contract as the cap continues to go up. And like I said, you're going to see, you know, third line guys potentially getting $8 million bucks, depending on who it is. But the money's going crazy, guys. And so to have a guy like Kyrou that could be close to a point per game guy, produce in your top 6, and be signed for $8.125 million bucks for the next 6 years, if he's truly getting shopped, I do think the New Jersey Devils should take a very good look at him and what the Blues want in return. And again, we have pieces, we have assets we can float around. And so Kyrou is a guy that I'd be super interested in. And like I said, that contract in place makes him very valuable on the market, I'd imagine. Tons of teams would have interest in Kyrou for sure. Could the Devils bring home the prize? But I said a lot in this video. Let me know what you think about anything I said. Let me know what you guys think about all this Jake Allen stuff, Cody Glass, missing on Taves, any other guys. I'm going to have a bunch of videos coming out in the next couple days leading up to free agency about some pipe dream type guys I want and some other things I think the Devils should take a look at. So look for that. Videos are going to be coming out a little more regularly now as we ramp up. We're getting close. We're getting close to the July 1, baby. Let the games begin. But throw it all out there in the comments. Anything, everything New Jersey Devils hockey. I enjoy talking to all of you. If you haven't seen the Randy McKay interview, check that out. That's on the channel now as well. Had a very good conversation with 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Devils, Randy McKay. Talked about some great stuff. He told some funny stories. Always love talking to the old guys. So if you haven't seen that, check that out on the channel. But I'll be back soon. I will be back soon. The offseason continues, hoping that we see some impactful moves done. But if I'm being honest, like I said from a few months back, I personally am not expecting much. I think the Luke Hughes extension is going to be kind of the headline news of the offseason, and we're going to see some bottom 6 kind of patchwork through free agency or young guys in the organization, but we'll find out. Hopefully Fitz has something up his sleeve. You never know. But it's going to require moving out a contract or 2 before we are able to accommodate anybody. That's just the reality. The cap space is still super tight despite trading Holla. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go. Devils.